Okay, gentlemen, now we are going to look at example number 3. So if we look at example number 3, we want to write our equation in vertex form for our quadratic. And recall, vertex form is our A, x minus h quantity squared plus k. And think back to when you would write the equation of a line. If you were writing the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b, you would need to fill in for m, and you would need to fill in for b. So anytime we're trying to write an equation of a line that is in vertex form, we need to fill in for 3 things. We need to fill in for a, we need to fill in for h, and we need to fill in for k. We always leave x, y in our final equations, just like we do with our equations of our lines. So let's look at what information we are given and then how we can write our final equation for our quadratic. So our quadratic, our parabola, contains the origin. Well, we know the origin is the point 0, 0, so we are given an xy point. It also contains the vertex. It goes through the vertex, which we know is represented by hk. So we have x, y, and h and a k. The only thing we do not have is an a, and so a is the one that we do need to solve for here. So filling in what we do know, our y value is 0. A we do not know. We have an x value of 0. Our h value is 2, and our k value is 2. So now the only unknown is our a, which we can solve for. A negative 2 squared is 4. So we have 0 is equal to 4a plus 2. Bring our 2 over, divide by 4. And we're going to get a negative 1/2 for our a. So now we have an a, we have an h, and a k, so we can write our equation in vertex form, which would be f of x is equal to a negative 1/2 x minus 2 quantity squared plus 2. Okay. Let's move across to C. On C, again, we want to write our equation in vertex form, in this form of f of x equaling a, x minus h quantity squared plus k. And we know we have to fill in for a, h, and k on our final equation. Those are the 3 that we need to know in order to have our equation in vertex form. Let's see what information we are given on C. We're given our axis of symmetry is x equal to 3. And we know axis of symmetry is always x equal to h. So we do know our h value. Our h value is the 3. And our graph goes through or contains the points 2, 5, and negative 1, negative 25. So we have an xy point of 2, 5, and we have a second xy point of a negative 1, negative 25. So we still don't know a, and we still don't know k. We have 2 unknowns. But we should recall that anytime you have 2 unknowns, you need to have 2 different equations, which means that we are going to need to set up a system of equations in order to solve for our a and our k. So let's fill in the information that we do have. If we use our point of 2, 5, then we would have an equation of y, or 5, is equal to a, our x value was 2, minus our h value was 3, quantity squared plus k, or that's what, a negative 1 squared, which is 1, so that's 5 equals a plus k. If we use the point negative 1, negative 25, we could write another equation, which would be a negative 25, is equal to a, negative 1 minus 3, quantity squared plus k. That's what, a negative 4 squared, so that's 16a plus k. And now you can either solve using substitution or elimination. Whatever you prefer, it's a personal preference. They both will work. I'm just going to do elimination. So I'm going to take my negative 25 equal to 6a plus k. I am going to multiply this equation through by a negative 1, which then is going to give me a negative 5 equal to a negative a minus k. So when I add my 2 equations together, I have my negative 30 is equal to 15a. My k's cancel, and I get a to be a negative 2. And now that I have a, I can come back to a different, either of these equations. I'm just going to go back to the 5 equaling a plus k, because that is the easier equation, and I know that 5 is equal to a negative 2 plus k, so k is equal to 7. And now I have my k. So I know my h value was 3, I know my a value is a negative 2, and my k value is 7. And so now I can write my final equation, which in this case is going to be f of x is equal to a was a negative 2, h was 3, and my k value was 7. And there is my equation in my vertex form. Okay, so now I'm going to let you guys do B and D, which are similar to the previous two we just did on A and C. And then we will come back again for